And good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the KYCA PM show. You hear the music, you know it's time. So hide the kids, hide grandma, and then spend the next hour in front of your radio because it's time for the Mulligan Group here on the News 1490, the panel of all knowledge. And as usual, perfect timing. The rodeo's just around the corner. The debate is only 2 days away. And we've got nothing to talk about because nothing's happening in the world. Our phone lines are open, but, with 5 of us around the table, maybe you should leave well enough alone because Malcolm's here. Okay. All right. I'm going to tell you something. It's been a lively discussion in the last half hour. And when we roll tape on the non-airing times, in the industry, that's what's called blackmail. And so we're really filling the vaults for today. Okay, we're on, and of course we're and I've got to put it on Facebook here, the wonders of technology.
Do you take plastic for the payment?
Sure. Anything's fine. Gold, plastic, gold teeth is fine too, Phil, so no problems there. Okay, so folks, you can tune in on Facebook. You can watch us if you dare on our website. And, of course, you're hearing us here on the News 1490 KYCA. Around the table, just to introduce everybody, in case you're keeping score at home. First, of course, next to me is Mr. Tom Reilly, who is on planning and zoning. You get introduced first today just because you've been the adult in the group so far in the last half hour.
Well, thank you,
because
Jason.
he hasn't said
Thank you.
anything.
See? Well, that's
what adults sometimes do, Malcolm.
Well, Malcolm, that you should take a lesson. There you go. All right, over to the side on my left is, of course, Bob Roecker, Bob Show, who's up to next week, I believe, right?
Well, it's going to be a surprise because I haven't got a guest yet. I'm still working on it.
This is why if you miss staff meetings, this is the problem. All of a sudden, you're sounding like Dayton Rutkowski, who would come in here every single morning and say, "I've got nothing. I don't know what I'm talking about," and 10 minutes later he would rip out a show and it would be great.
Yeah,
So,
I know.
Is that like Steve Blair?
I actually
kind of.
I actually talked to Dayton a couple weeks ago.
How is Dayton?
And he's fine, and he said maybe he'll come on later on in the year.
Should we have
show.
him? Should we have him in here on the panel of all knowledge?
I would love it.
That'd be frightening, I tell you.
Well,
But
we
Dayton,
should keep it to 4, so who would we excuse?
I'm thinking perhaps our next panelist, that would be Malcolm Barrett Jr. Malcolm in
Well,
the
you
morning.
skip Phil here.
Well, because I just felt like I had to go to you
But
next.
you know what?
Yes.
Tell me what 1.65 inches means.
Well, that's the amount of rain we've
We're
had
not
so
allowed
far.
to say that on the air,
That
Malcolm.
that is the amount of rain I have had in my backyard.
Really?
Yeah, it was a great rain.
That's why we're all in a great mood. The
We're
rain started.
welcoming
maybe.
the monsoon.
And was this over the last 2 days or just today?
That was day before yesterday. One
before.
day.
We had
One day.
at
And
our
I can
place
tell
downtown,
because my backyard's underwater.
downtown we had, as of me coming over here, 2.2 inches
Wow.
over the last 2 days.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, now Granite Creek's looking pretty good, but of course there's been a lot of soaking in that's had to take place first before it's
Well,
started.
Granite Creek was dry again this morning.
Willow
But it's
Creek,
not now.
yeah, Willow
No.
Creek's not running yet, and
Okay.
it normally does when we get over an inch in one storm. But they changed the rain gauge location
Okay.
downtown from the Marina Street, the old county property, because that was sold.
Right.
It's now located at Granite Mountain Mile High Middle School.
Mile High.
So
okay.
there is really truly a downtown rain gauge now.
And it changed location. Even a few blocks can change things.
Big
That's
time.
for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. I think I've seen a couple of times here that I've seen rain on one side of my house, but not on the other.
Absolutely.
seen
happens
yeah.
all the time.
Yeah, you see it downtown all the time.
Yeah, true. And then, of course, over in the far corner, the dean of the morning coffee group, that would be Phil King. Good morning, Phil, or
Good
afternoon, Phil.
afternoon once again.
Yeah,
yes,
afternoon.
Thank you.
Yes, and glad to have
It's
all of you
another
all
great day in Arizona. We should all enjoy it.
I'll tell you what. Why don't you let's play show and tell with Phil here as on the dangers for those of you. And if you this is a visual thing, so you might want to go to our website kyca.info and check this out. Go ahead, Phil. Show us what we got here.
It gets hot in your car.
Yes.
That's an unopened Pepsi can that decided to open itself in the heat.
Wow.
Don't leave your dogs in the car.
Or cats or anything
or cats
else.
or kids.
Or kids, especially kids.
And in fact, there's a law in Arizona that allows people who find such things to go ahead and bust the door open and take the dog, the cat, the kid out. But
you
that's
can-
what can happen.
You can
What was
plainly
Was that the front seat or the back seat?
That was the messy seat.
We all have one, I know.
You got the
I'm
close
very-
up there.
Yeah, so if you see this, folks, I mean, this is an unopened Pepsi can. There it is, split in the heat. Left it out in the sun, didn't you?
Yeah, well, it was in the car.
Well,
What can I say?
Well, tell me that the mess wasn't that terrible. Okay, it was pretty bad. All right, folks, there's your show and tell
it's,
for today.
how
courtesy
many
of Phil.
how many ounces of black sticky gooey stuff came running out of the can?
Well, you're going to be
It
cleaning
didn't
that
come
forever.
running out, Phil. It exploded.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
sure
it
did.
exploded.
Stem to stern, wide
Look,
open.
Yeah, look at it.
Wow.
It sure did.
Well, in
Show and tell for
Show
the
and
day.
tell.
Well, the kids are all here.
Thank you, Phil. You're up next month, Malcolm, for show and tell. No, maybe you shouldn't be. Bob, you're up.
But well, I got to introduce my guest for Thursday.
Go ahead, please.
County Supervisor Craig Brown, running for re-election, Supervisor District 4.
Okay, sounds good.
He's always a great guest.
He's good. He's always good. All right. Yes, the election is well underway, as you have heard on this station.
We're running out of ad time.
Well, there's a few people who want to get their message out there, and there's
he'll
more
make,
coming.
He'll make time, trust me.
And there's more coming.
That's fine. The
Less-
more he puts on the morning shows, the less we have to talk. It's a good thing.
On Thursdays it is. Okay, kids, I know.
No, that's
I
the
know.
interruption, the special news release for whatever happens.
Okay. That brings us, of course, with exploding and cans and everything else to the debate on Thursday night. And very quickly, we know who's going to be there. We know why this is happening. Anybody's opinions on what's going to be happening Thursday night, what the result will be? Any thoughts? Because I don't know what to expect.
The pundits have already written the summary of the debate.
Okay.
The Democrats have already written how masterful he was, and he just really handled it well.
Who?
Joe Biden.
Yeah,
They're
that's
gonna
what I-
talk about it, and if he sat up there and didn't even peep a word, they've already written the summary.
That he was
It's already there.
masterfully brilliant.
Well, look
How-
at all the comments about how low the expectations are. All he's got to do is stand there for 90 minutes, and he wins the debate.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's true.
Now, if Trump can moderate his tone by, say, even 30% and respect the time limit and not keep talking after the mics are shut off, he would really be ahead of the game.
Well, I'm thinking Joe Biden would have that problem, actually. He likes to interrupt. He knows how that works.
The moderators' mics aren't going to be shut off.
And that's a shame.
Now, I would wager your dollar, Bob,
Yeah.
that they will not interrupt Biden when he's speaking, but they will interrupt Trump when he does.
What do you mean by interrupt or shut the mic off?
I don't think we're going to hear anything new. I think it's just going to be plod along for 90
It's
minutes.
not a debate. It's a joint interview by two very biased CNN reporters.
Just a
So
little. Tom, weighing in.
I'm with Bob. I don't think we're not going to learn anything new. We're not going to see anything new, and
If he
we're just going to watch a lot of bluster and stutter.
Yeah.
if he fumbles, is this enough for Biden to enter the convention in August as the underdog?
I think there's a reason that it's in June.
Well, yes.
So maybe
The earliest convention or the earliest debate ever held.
Yeah.
Ever held.
Yeah.
That's true.
And don't forget, the DNC is having their virtual meeting 3 days before the convention
Right.
and before the Ohio filing deadline. So the DNC is prepared to name their candidate. Everybody assumes it'll be
Gavin,
Biden,
Yeah. Well,
but
Who else do they have?
they are not bound by those primaries.
no.
I think Gavin's fallen out of favor because he only polls 38% head-to-head with Trump.
Correct.
So they're pulling something out of their hat.
An interesting poll, an interesting couple of polls that I just wanted to bring up in terms of Trump. Trump is leading among independent voters by almost a 2-to-1 margin, 22 points, I believe, and black support for Trump is at 23%, which is a historic high
High.
for a Republican.
Well, since Johnson.
Since Johnson.
Prior to that, the Republicans won the black vote consistently.
So I think we've automatically gotten to the point that Joe Biden wins the debate, and we're still 2 days away.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering,
You know who's going to lose the debate?
who loses? All of us?
The voters.
Yes. There's nothing there.
There's,
It's a show.
Yeah. It's. I'm not even going to
It's a
watch it.
show. That's what it is.
yeah.
I
You're
think
right.
I think it's a fitness test for Joe Biden more than anything else.
Yeah.
And to be honest, here's the scary thing, and this is my prediction. Well, not necessarily a prediction, but I think this is the truth. After a week of preparation for Joe Biden,
Hiding away at
Camp
David,
yep,
Rehearsing.
16
rehearsing.
people,
Yeah.
rehearsing.
and Trump's out on the campaign trail.
Right, and with no public appearances whatsoever for a week.
Yeah.
A week to rest up, a week to get coached, and he likes debates. I don't know if he can spell debates, but he likes debates.
Yeah.
Thursday night we are going to witness perhaps Joe Biden at his best, which means if he fumbles badly, boy, do we have problems. Like
good point.
more than we know.
I'm just wondering what kind of drugs they're pumping him up with
Uh,
to try to prepare this.
Donald Trump has offered to take a drug test right then and there, as long as Biden does too.
Yeah, that'll work.
As long as if as long as you don't have to test for fast food, then Trump passes with flying colors. As for everything else, well, Biden might be in.
You
a little bit of
mentioned
trouble.
the polling of the independent voters,
Yes.
and that's one of the multitude of propositions that's going to be on the Arizona ballot this fall on the general election ballot, is to allow independents to vote in the primaries,
Yes.
regardless. The primaries are for the party registrants to pick their candidate, not for the independents to decide it.
Well,
But that's going to be on the ballot, and it's along
if you're
with
not
how many
affiliated
others.
with a registered party, why are you voting in a registered party? Vote to select their candidate.
Right. Well, on that note, we're gonna. I'm holding your attention here, Tom. Anyway,
Well, like you said in the beginning, there's really nothing to talk about.
How many propositions are going to be on that ballot this fall?
23 and a half.
Yeah, something.
23 and a half is what I hear. You know what?
Including these
We do.
sales tax here in Prescott.
Well, which is dead last in the ballot. What
Right.
do you think voters are going to think after they try to weed through all these propositions and candidates? They're frustrated, they're angry, and then they get to the city issues.
Right. And that comes at the bottom of the ballot, and that comes at the bottom of our first segment here on KYCA. Did you see that? That's called professionalism. Okay, and that was a Biden whisper. Okay, so 928-541-1016. We're going to take a break. Oh,
Don't.
I know, Malcolm. I know. Good impression.
Well done, Brandon.
We're going to take care of things business-wise, and we'll be back after this. And we're back here on the KYCA PM show. Hope you folks out there are as scintillated on this conversation as I am. 928-541-1016. It is the Mulligan Group. Yes, Malcolm. What?
It's Tom's turn to elaborate.
I know.
About
That's what
ballot
I was
position.
getting to, and you raised your hand.
No, I pointed.
Okay. You raised
Don't
your
point your
hand.
finger at me.
It's got a nail in it. Okay.
Oh.
We were discussing.
It's got to be the weather.
Well,
Everybody's in a great mood.
I think Malcolm hit on a really good topic at the
Let's get
very end
started.
of that.
Go for
And he
it.
talked about how at the propositions, the last thing that's going to be on the ballot is going to be the city sales tax issues
Right.
and the city issues. And I think, and he's talking very correctly, saying that, yes, people are going to be frustrated, angry, and just start saying no all the way through. That very well could happen. And I think that's such a shame. It's too bad it's right there on such a heavily laden ballot.
Right.
I would really needed, though. I mean, what's needed, and Phil, this is going to give you your opening. What is needed, the police and fire currently, regardless of what past councils have done correctly or incorrectly, they need to have the funding in order to be able to not only take care of us, but also take care of themselves and their own safety in the field. And I firmly believe that this sales tax, I wish it was worded a little bit better. It's not. But the sales tax, the cops, the police and fire need this now. Not only do police and fire need it, we need it.
Okay. Phil, go ahead.
You want me to talk about land purchases as a priority over paying the employees of the city?
You're welcome to if you'd like.
Yeah, go
I
for
I
it.
just did.
There you go.
And the people who are asking, the very same people who are asking for this tax increase and put it on the ballot for the voters are the people who are culpable for having the problem in the first place. And if they're serious and honorable people, they would resign with that ballot initiative on there for a permanent sales tax increase.
They have prioritized the wrong spending out of available funds, and now we're in a hole because we blew the money on wants versus needs.
It's even worse than that. There's one example out in the airport area that's not in the airport zone, but they canceled an improved building permit and took it away so that the people that were going to build and had bought the steel building to put up, the city ended up buying that building from them, and it cost them It cost the city $600,000 in that one incident to cancel that building permit.
And the reason that they canceled that was because that building was in one of the
extended crash
extended zones,
zone.
the crash zones that
beyond what the FAA
right. That's Subata.
Well, they actually call it a clear zone.
Yeah.
but We all think
I think Malcolm said it right. I think their priorities are wrong on the council, but I predict that the tax will pass.
I think you get down to the bottom of the ballot. You are looking. I think a lot of people are looking for one-shot issues. This is the one city issue on the ballot. We don't have to worry about. They are looking for this to vote for it. They might be frustrated, but they are looking for that issue to vote yes or no. And I think we will have a perfectly good turnout, yes or no, on this issue. I don't think people are going to pass it over, and I don't think we're going to get an inordinate amounts of no's just because they're frustrated. They're frustrated. There's no doubt
Well,
about
they
it.
were frustrated last year and passed all but one of those
Exactly.
charter
Yes.
changes, and some of those were a disaster for the city.
So, what? I mean, here's the problem. We have
Police and fire and a couple of other city agencies are the number one priority for any city council. This council and its immediate predecessors, who are the same people, barring the two that were just elected, are the ones who diverted the funds, misspent it, upset the budget, and ignored over the last 6 years, say, the needs of police, fire, the essential basic services of the city.
followed by water, followed
by
by
streets. You
and
don't
sewer.
you
and-
don't spend the essential monies on a want list of rainbows and unicorns.
But what is the solution? I mean, we have a solution here in terms of a sales tax, which some people are saying, as you have said, not a solution.
Well, it's a permanent tax for a temporary problem. It should not be.
No, it's not a temporary problem. That is not a true statement. The problem isn't going to be an ongoing one, and we know that it's an ongoing one because we had the problems when we were on council.
We did, and we
there's
dealt
still,
with them.
And we dealt with them, but there's still ongoing problems, and I think that those ongoing problems need to be addressed continuously.
And
one of the things that I am a little nervous about in this, and what could happen in the future under the guises of unintended consequences, is the wording in the ballot is such that it's intended for public safety.
What's that?
Exactly. I mean, is public
And-
safety sidewalks? Is public safety traffic
Here we
lights?
go.
Can
Yeah.
be. Can be. It can be anything
And
the
that's-
council
I think-
decides it is.
And I think that's
but
right. And,
and-
that's
yeah.
that's what bugs
That's
me.
a problem, and the commingling of the separate tax funds into the general fund is the same problem when you have the same people who've been diverting funds before and turning down businesses or trying to turn down businesses that want to come to town
That
and
will
increase
generate
the
the
revenue
needed
stream.
taxes.
And yeah,
Well, who wants a convenience store and gas station on the busiest highway corridor in the Prescott area?
Gee, let me
That's
think.
insane. Let's find a residential neighborhood to put it in, right? Does that make sense? If that's not appropriate, what is?
All right. Well, we're going to have to take a break here, and I see we have one caller on the air. You're a brave soul. We're in 928-541-1016. It's the Mulligan Group. Tom, Bob, Phil, Malcolm. I got all the names right. Cubby, Michael. All right.
where's Karen?
Where's Karen?
And Annette.
And Annette.
And Annette.
And Annette. Okay. We'll be back after this. And this ultra serious theme signals to everyone that we're halfway through the Mulligan Group here on KYCA. It's the Five Stooges. No, I'm sorry, it's the Four Stooges. I'm fine. Let's see, Larry, Curly, Moe, Shemp, Malcolm, you're Shemp. Okay,
freaked out, insecure, neurotic, and emotional.
There we go. All right, folks, thanks for joining us. Let's go
We
to
could go
line.
there.
Yeah, let's go to line one and Bud, who's on the air with the Mulligan Group. Bud, brave man.
Yes.
Thanks for joining us.
Okay. I don't know how brave I am, but Bob's wife said I should call in.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Bob, you're on suspension.
My prediction for vice president is either Tim Scott or Christy Nome.
Okay.
Then I got a couple questions.
Okay.
What is your guys' thoughts on the cyber attack on the 15,000 plus car dealerships throughout the United States?
Let's go to Tom on
And-
that.
Okay, my second question is, though, and then I'll let you guys have it, is Bob, how's Miss Peaches doing?
Well, let's go to Bob first.
What was the question?
How's Miss?
Miss
Oh, Miss
Peaches.
Peaches is doing just fine. She's doing just fine.
I'm not even going to ask.
All right.
Thanks for that, Bud.
Thanks, Bud.
You just embarrassed it. But let's turn it over to Tom. You started with.
Oh well, basically the car dealers. I mean, it's throughout the United States in various different areas where they hacked into the systems. Basically, I believe it's the finance systems, so it's making it difficult for people to go out and finance cars and buy cars, and for dealerships to be able to sell cars now. Now, what do you think about something like that? I mean, it's terrible that somebody does that kind of stuff, but to just let you know that we live in a world where evil exists, and we need to be aware of it.
These days, that has to be one of the scariest things. I do think about that at various businesses around here, including my own. It's not something that you play with lightly. That's for sure. And let's face it, it could possibly be the source of an attack down the road from an outside interest, such as China or something like that, as part of a diversionary thing. I think about these things, which I shouldn't, but I read too much Tom Clancy and all the rest of that stuff.
Did you get his new book?
No, he's been gone for a while.
Oh no,
he's dead.
Well, he's dead.
I've been reading Jack Carr, by the way.
Okay.
His new book just came out last week. Okay. About the sales tax. Well, you know what? I'll tell you what. Let's go ahead and bring John in real quick.
Sure.
John on line 2. Second most bravest man to call in. So, John, thank you for calling into the Mulligan Group. You've got an honorary membership. What's your question?
Well, I want to talk about the sales tax they want to put forward, and I understand that the city council approved a measure to purchase a hill in Prescott Valley for open space. Is that correct?
That was a combination of Prescott Valley, Yavapai County buying up Glassford Hill. Is that right?
Arizona land.
Yeah.
Something.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's
and that was what, $8 million, from my understanding. Is that correct?
and that was divided among the three entities. Was that right?
Okay.
I don't know how it was divided up, but yeah, the three entities came in together on something like that.
Plus
Yeah, it was
the- plus
very
the
nice
state.
of Prescott to buy somebody else's city park, I thought.
Okay, so then why are we spending $8 million to purchase a hill in Prescott Valley, and now they want the taxpayers to cough up money?
It's the
For
question of the hour, John.
Well,
It's
it-
priorities.
$8 million
You know, first of all,
for the firefighters and the police.
well, John, you're absolutely correct. And you understand the $8 million is spread out amongst the three entities. So that amount is not just from the city of Prescott. However, you are exactly right. That is exactly the question that needs to be asked. And I can give you the name of 7 people that I know of to whom you should direct that question specifically, starting with the mayor and the other 6 members of the council. They can all give you the answers of why they want to spend the money one way and then not spend it another way. But that is an excellent question.
Well, I'm going to tell you, I'm voting no on this tax increase, because if they're going to willing to spend that kind of money to buy a useless hill in another town, Prescott Valley, instead of concentrating on Prescott, then I tell you, it's a no vote for me.
Well, John, you're probably right. One of the things to consider, though, and this is something that I know most of my compatriots here in the room would probably, I may not be back next time. But yeah, the thing is,
All right,
the police and fire, yes, they're important. Streets, yes, it's important. Water,
I agree.
yes.
I agree.
All those things are important. However, the quality of life that we have in town often is related to the way we have our open space and our access to open space. So there's a quality of life issue that most of the guys here don't think is worthy of addressing that as frequently.
Tom, we have 4.5 million acres of open space. How much more do we need?
You know, John. I will tell you that open space is important, and you're right. When Dayton was mayor, I remember him challenging anybody who said that he could get them to open space within 10 minutes of City Hall.
All the time.
And he's right, and he could do that all the time. The point is that it's not just open space and big parks and things like that. There's a lot of other things that come with that. There are parks. There are different things. There's bicycles. People like to get out there and bike. They don't always want to bike in the forest, particularly if you have an e-bike. You can't use an e-bike in the forest.
I'm 70 years old. I do
Well,
not
John, you're not the
bike,
only person that lives
and I
here.
pay
John,
taxes,
you're not the
and
only
I'm
person that
tired
lives
of
here.
I want to hear from
politicians
Marcia.
wasting-
Oh, John, you're not the only
wasting
person
my-
that
I'm
lives
sorry,
here.
Wasting my tax dollars on ridiculous issues and items.
I like John.
Let me jump in here, Tom,
Go
because
for it.
you did say something. Quality of life. Quality of life depends on how much of my own earnings I get to keep.
Exactly, Phil. Thank you very much.
And what is the average age in Prescott right now?
And yet,
Some
Yavapai College's
60%.
property taxes went up. Biden is proposing a litany of taxes for next year. You don't know
Yep.
where this is going to end up.
Oh, I'm not a tax and
Let's-
spend guy.
I know.
I'm just
All right.
saying that there are
I will,
other
get off
issues.
I will get off my pedestal. I want to thank you for listening to me, and I appreciate it. And I said my piece. I appreciate all of you guys. You are top notch in my book. Thank you.
Well,
Thanks,
John.
John.
Thank you, John.
Wow, John, I'm going to have to write that one down as for my evaluation on everybody.
Thank you for your pedestal, John.
Yeah, thank you. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, John gets an honorary membership and a secret decoder ring as soon as we get his address. Okay. All right, everybody. Thanks for joining us. We're going to take a quick break here on the PM show and back after this. Okay, hey, you know what? This is why we don't turn all the mics up right away. This is KYCAPM and the Mulligan Group. We have way too much fun. You know, I should have bleachers in here and a live studio audience. You know that?
You know, that would be fun, actually.
would be
I
fun.
wish we could do something
Oh, I do have
like
a question.
that.
Do you actually turn off the podcast when you go to break?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
For your own safety time.
Yeah. But of course, there's no audience at the presidential debate because, some local elected officials who seem to think that they're in a different class of existence than the poor voters
Really?
and taxpayers of their city. Yeah.
Okay, by request, we've got a quote from Council Member Kathy Rusing, I believe. This was played on the station. What was it, about a month ago? It was
No,
from the
it was-
May 28th meeting, I believe it was.
Yeah, I don't recall the
Okay.
date, but
Well,
yeah, it was dealing with the QT store proposal and the Board of Adjustment dealing with that.
Well, if you'd like to, since we have a few minutes, you want to play this again?
Sure.
Okay, get your headphones on. We'll see if we can play this this clip. This came from, I think, the May 28th City Council meeting, and it's Council Member Kathy Rusing. Go ahead, Scott.
I'd like to remind everyone that this process has been through these committees. They're all appointed. This is an elected body, and we have been tasked with looking at the big picture, and we are sick and tired of being told by city staff, planning and zoning, you can only look at the site plan. You can't address the big picture. Our job is to address the big picture, and safety is one of them. And I just look that this gas station is going to cause a traffic nightmare. It's going to be very unsafe for egress and ingress. And I think we, as an elected body, have a right to just say no.
Well, she is right. The elected body makes the final decision, correct?
Not on this particular instance because the site plan was approved and the conditional use permit granted by the Board of Adjustment. That's a state statutory group, and the only appeal from it is to the Superior Court. So what she is saying is we don't like what the board did. That would put the city in the position of having to sue their own board to overturn that ruling.
Oh. So where do
And
we
forget
go with
about
this?
all the traffic engineers and all the hard staff work who are experts. They have the big picture.
So, do we disband all of the commissions and boards, and the city council can now do all the work?
Only those members who disagree with us, and we exchange them for the proletariat.
I see.
I tell you, I think you want to know where you really want to take care of this. Remember this when it comes voting time next year.
Yeah.
Remember
Yes.
the quality of the people that we have on the city council right now, and look at what they're doing. There's some people up there that are very, very smart.
Yes.
You know, there are very, very smart people up there, and there are some people up there that are there for their own aggrandizement, and I think that she is one of them.
And partly responsible for the city of Prescott losing a 5,000 acre state park that would have been in the Dells area that council had negotiated
But in the
about
interest of
6 years ago, and the state
Public
parks department
transparency.
was going to do it, and it had all been negotiated. It was a done deal, and this pack that got together and wanted to save the universe made it into a political issue, and the state walked on the deal because
Yes, they did.
they politicized those rocks.
But they're going to come back and save us from ourselves after they destroyed the deal.
Okay.
It would have been, yeah.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what. We have one more break to take here on KYCA. There's a lot of business to do, and then Mike is also the third bravest person in the community, as he is going to be on the air after this. So let's take our last break here on the Mulligan Group, and we'll be back after this. And we're back for the final segment. Sorry, folks, we have to rush this one through, so let's bring Mike in real quick here on the Mulligan Group. Mike, you are our third honorary member today, so congratulations for that.
I appreciate that. My question to you is, when the jail tax was coming up, everybody shut it down, and the end result is all the property owners around here are paying for that. Now, if this tax that is being proposed by the city council is shut down, is that going to be put on the property tax of the homeowners here instead of
not in the
on sales tax?
Not in the city that we
like
understand. Not in the city that we understand. But let's go around to the experts here. Tom,
Sure.
you start.
I think that they will not build it. I mean, if they don't get the sales tax passed, they're not going to build it. They'll come back again. And also about the jail tax, if I'm correct, the jail tax failed one time and then passed the second time. So the jail tax is in place and it's not a property tax. Bob?
I can't.
I'm not
I
sure
thought
about that.
Part of it's
Yes, I
property
am.
tax.
Part of it is a property tax, but the sales tax did end up passing.
Right.
Okay, Bob, I believe we don't have the option of we do have a property tax, but it's not that big here in Prescott.
No, it's not, but it's still tax, so
Yeah.
it starts adding up.
The city's property tax did go up actually last year. They can do that, but it's a very small
So
amount.
it's small.
It's limited.
Yeah, there's
There's a limit on the sales and how high the
how
property
much
tax
it can go each year.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
it's
So-
not like you have a high college, for example.
Okay, so what's the
Right.
funding mechanism if this fails that the city can do besides, well, the obvious solution is start cutting the budget?
Well, the obvious solution is quit prioritizing open space or land acquisitions that are not needed. For example, acquiring $8 million of property secure the clear zone for a runway that's used only 3% of the time.
And that's something you've been hitting for the last week or so.
Yes, I have.
And you need to continue to hit that. I told you.
Intend to.
Good, very good.
I agree with that.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think it just comes down to good old-fashioned managing your budget.
Yes, budgeting the priorities first and saving some cash in reserve. Tom had the sad experience of coming onto his council, and the city's
$15 million
reserve
capital
fund
reserve.
disappeared in about a year and a half because we elected the wrong guy.
Well, it's one of the things when you elect the right people. Unfortunately, we as voters do not have a very good memory. We see things like this happening in midterms, and we forget about them when it comes time to vote again. And I think that that's a problem. And I think that is one of our biggest problems and one of the voters' shortcomings is that we just don't remember all these different things that happen. I also think you need to take a look. When people get elected into things, you really need to follow the money. You really need to find out who's backing these people, why are they backing them, and what groups are backing them, and then you'll start to see a little bit of a relationship between that and how they decide to spend money.
Well, that political action committee we alluded to owns 2, maybe 3 of the city council members right up.
That's the Save the Dells group.
That's what I've.
Oh, the STDs.
Oh, that's what we've heard. But we don't know where that. We don't know that. And
But
just
it's
we
where
do.
where the PAC spends their money.
If
on,
you will recall,
on
in
elections.
the election 2 cycles ago, when I made a statement on the air, follow the money, and they formed a PAC.
Yeah.
well, okay, Mike. There you go. How's that for an answer?
Intertwined with everything else. But there again, I just hope the property owners are not hit hard if this thing fails.
Yeah,
That is-
there's a cap on how big an increase in any given year they
It's
can
very
do. and
minimal, and they can only go up
Yeah.
just a couple of percentage
Yeah, the
points.
city's
you're not
share
gonna-
of the property tax is small, so they could never make it up with that. They have to get their priorities straight.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Mike. We appreciate you calling in.
I appreciate you talking to me. Thank you.
Okay, guys, real fast around the table. Trump's vice president. We're going to know in 2 days. Who is it?
Kamala Harris.
And Tom is off the panel.
Well, I said a long time ago Byron Donalds, and I'm going to stick with him. I think there's a shot.
Okay.
He'd be a good choice.
Phil?
I don't know who he's going to pick. My preference would have been Tim Scott.
Okay.
Tim Scott was the early favorite. He jumped on the wagon early, and now they're talking about J.D. Vance.
Yeah.
Very interesting, I thought.
But
J.D.
I'm
Vance.
still going with Tim Scott.
I think there's a problem if you're looking at either a sitting governor or a sitting senator, because we're going to need those people in those offices. We need strong governors in the
We
states.
can't
and
afford to lose senators. That's
that's
the
the
other piece.
issue, and that's the downside of any of the senators.
Okay, given that Biden is going to win the debate,
Yeah.
who wins the debate?
All
Depends
Biden's
on
got to
which news agency
Does
you're
Trump-
quoting.
Does Trump come out looking better or worse?
Is it well? Real quick, is the guy that pulled the fire extinguisher? Is he going to lose?
I think he's going to
He's
lose.
going to
Oh,
lose.
yeah.
It's today. It's
New
it's
York
the
thing.
thing.
Oh, that's
yeah.
right. That's
The-
today's
right
that
now
New
today.
York primary.
And
yeah.
guess what, folks? The Mulligan Group
Oh.
reforms July 30th, Election Day. We will have a special Election Day show of Mulligan Group next month here on KYCA. That's the end of the show for all of you guys around the table.
Wow.
And for all of you watching, bye-bye.